Ladies and gentlemen, well, it gives me great honour, actually. It's a guest I've been trying to get on for a while, and through busy diaries and business going a little bit crazy, we've got Andrew Sillitoe. And I've kind of went through a bit of a storyline of Andrew's life, represented the country, author, videographer, coach, dad, husband. I'm missing a few off there as well, aren't I? Andrew, welcome to the Rockstar Recruitment Podcast.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
There is a list, isn't there? There is a list of things. Where do you get the time?
Well, I guess I've spent a lot of time. It's been a lot. You've kind of just shared my last 20 years, I guess. Yeah. Of starting out life, following a dream of playing roller hockey and pursuing that and traveling around the world, and that kind of evolved and shaped somewhat of a career out of it, whether it was coaching or selling product or whatever it was. I was very lucky before 2004, when you kind of realised that getting to a certain age, you think, actually, maybe I need a proper job, and that's when I kind of...
And then you come out the other side. You come out the other side and say, "Forget that proper job. Let's go and do it."
Exactly. Yeah. You go full circle. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think. Do you know what? My friend of mine did roller hockey, and my eldest, was a lacrosse player. He played lacrosse.
Right. Okay.
He trialed in England. So I know. Again, I've kind of admired some of the things, but roller hockey is wild. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends what sort of where you're looking at it from, but for me, it's just been it's been my life, Yeah. And it's hard for a kid.
Do you still play?
I'm still playing. Yeah, I was playing last weekend, and I play whenever I can. I was working in Hong Kong. I took my gear with me, which people think is crazy, just to say that I've played roller hockey in Hong Kong. So I met up with some players out there, and I was working for doing some work with hydrogen in Hong Kong, and so that was great. And then I took it to Sydney, and didn't get a chance to play in Sydney. But so I always look to play, and it's a family. When you play a small sport, you kind of have this connection with people worldwide.
I know. Well, thing is, one of my recent podcasts with Joe Bendel, she was the live big mentality, and travel the world, and just find the business or find the thing that really lights you up. And if you can travel the world with doing it, and I know you've lived in one of my favorite places in Vancouver as well. And I think you've had, like you say, I think you make your own look in life, but to be able to live Vancouver, Hong Kong, and I've a bit farther afield than some place I've been, but yeah, you've got to be happy that you've been able to do that.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I feel very blessed, actually. And then, and not only that, now I get to share the story as part of my coaching proposition. So there's certainly been some ups and downs, and actually the irony is, and I think we talked about this earlier about mindset, and when we're in that sort of the trough, we think that's it's a failure, but actually it's just part of the process.
Yeah, and I suppose, so if we just quickly, for people that maybe don't know you a little bit, is even though you're a coach, you help businesses and larger businesses and so on really understand so we're going to talk about the 4 keys. So we've got relationship, body, business, and mindset. These are the 4 keys this is what a lot of your coaches are around. Yeah. Where I came into touch with you was, suddenly there was a real the recruitment industry, because that obviously I know you do a lot of work in the recruitment industry. There was suddenly a real interest and appetite for, we need to get our head straight, we need to understand our goals. How did you crazy getting into the recruitment industry, right? Because I think most people want to get out and we're all stuck. But how did you get in?
So I found the recruitment industry. I mean, I've known about it for years. I'd seen friends of mine. I dabbled with it in my early 20s. Before moving into a sort of proper, I went into proper jobs and tiptoeing around it. And I was seeing some of my friends making some decent money in recruitment, and it was always in my mind. And then I went off to pursue my sport. And then I started my own consultancy business back in 2007. So coaching, going out working. I was working with traders in the city, doing work there. I was fully freelance coach in 2009, which was, it's when I started my business, which was really the worst time to start a consultancy business.
All the best times, depending on how you look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Could have been. Yeah. I didn't have any clients, didn't have any proposition, didn't really know what I was doing. Exactly. Yeah. So, and then just got approached by Huxley at S3, and and they said there's a leadership role going. Would you be interested in having a conversation about it? So I went to meet S3, had a few interviews. The role had kind of evolved when I was there into managing a leadership team. So I was really lucky. I'd acquired a really good group leadership development consultants. And we started to design and deliver training across the business globally. So it was just a really good opportunity for me, great company to work with. And I think we made some real ingrounds in the way learning and development was perceived. I'd come from working in boutique consultancy, management consultancy business, where learning and development was very different. It was very much very experiential. It was getting people on their feet and doing stuff. There was no chalk and talk. So when I came into S3 and I started to bring some of those ideas in, I think there was a bit of a shift from the sort of slides to actually just get on the feet and do the work. And that seemed to be well received.
Yeah, well, I think, and obviously it's been continued. I still think there's a huge amount of work to do for people to realize the benefits. But so we're in the recruitment industry now.
Yeah.
Obviously, so we talk about Rockstar Recruiter. We're not talking about rock stars who play on stage. We're basically trying to help the solo recruiters out there have the best business they can, be the best version of themselves. But what I'd like, before we get into the 4 keys and maybe how recruiters can start incorporating some of your teachings and sort of learn, on the top level, what kind of results are your people getting? It's all well and good, I think, talking about, well, you should do this, you should do the other. But what kind of results are some of these people get? Are we seeing a real shift in the result in income or mindset, productivity, health?
Yeah.
What kind of results are you helping?
I think it's the level of activity that shifts. I think if you speak to anyone that's been through the program, some people will describe it as life-changing
Really?
because, and also as a business psychologist, I would be going in to have these conversations around the business side of it. So as a business psychologist, you're interested in the vision of the business, where it's going, the why, the branding, the processes, the results they want to achieve. You're looking at the culture. So these are the sort of things that I deep dive into when having conversations with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. And as conversations went on and the business owners started to get clearer about how they're operating across the 4 keys, the pushback was, you know what, we don't need to talk about the business anymore. We just double down on our body, our relationships, and our mindset, and we're going into work feeling the best version of ourselves, and we're more productive, more active. I'm leading better. I'm communicating better. I'm going into meetings with my clients feeling better. I feel better about myself because I'm looking after my body and all these kind of things. This was the sort of anecdotal stuff that was coming out. So there's still an element of, okay, how do we acquire new clients? How do we do that? But for the most part, it's been just making sure that I'm turning up to work, just like an athlete wants to be the best version of themselves in the game, ready for the game.
Yeah.
And I don't want any distractions. I just want to be able to focus on achieving the result. And I think that was the same. If the relationship's right, you're going to work feeling good. If the relationship's not right, then it starts to catch up with us and our health and so on, and especially the mindset. I think the biggest challenge for a recruitment business owner, particularly one that is running it, like a solo preneur, is you're in the game every day. So you don't have the luxury like a professional sports team where you play once or twice a week, and then you're training and practicing and you're socializing, you're playing a bit of golf and doing whatever else to relax. You're in it. It's not even 9 to 5. I mean, just trying to switch off even off the weekend is pretty much impossible. So it was about how do we start to think about managing all these other facets of our life so that we can go all in on the business and feel kind of guilt-free in a way. That was the only word I could describe it, is that you go in feeling that I can actually be really selfish and just go on in the business because I'm taking care of this other stuff.
It's a really interesting point now. At times in my personal life, I would say I'm a workaholic, okay? But I think when you're building a business, the difference between building a bigger business with customers and staff, etc., versus building a business just for you, the solo kind of person.
Yeah.
Either way, but it's still very easy to immerse yourself and neglect the family, the wife, the girlfriend, the children, the mums, dads. And you kind of teach yourself that this is acceptable. And there's this holistic thing. You've got to have equilibrium. You have to have balance. Too many of us have that completely out of kilter. You're bringing this back to a more of an even way of living life and the productivity, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think, we talked about work-life balance, devoting in the book. I took it, or certainly on the back of the book, because I was just looking at it the other day, and it was about devoting equal time. And actually, it's not time; it's attention. Okay. If I was to rewrite it, I'd talk about devoting equal attention, because it's about when I'm not working that I'm present. So for example, I'm very honest in the book about how I let the balls drop, and I was perhaps putting more effort into the GB locker room than I was my own family, and you just get lost in that, and you're thinking about, you're having a coffee with my wife, and I'm sitting there thinking, how do you beat Austria? What sort of, and I'm thinking, I'm not really thinking about, I'm not being present. Whereas, so over time, my wife started to resent the hockey, started to resent me working, started to, but she never really resented it. She resented the fact that I wasn't present when I wasn't doing hockey, or wasn't proactively thinking about how to plan a few weekends or a holiday, or a year would go past and think, blimey, we haven't even been away for a weekend, So it was just, I think that's the thing we forget. It's not, it's not the fact that we need to devote equal time and, work-life balance isn't working 9 to 5. It's not, I finished at 4 to play football. It's, we're going to have to put 17 hours out of days.
It's more now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's switching on, it's switching off, it's working with, what's going on in the environment. It's, whereas I think the Industrial Revolution has kind of embedded this mindset of work 9 to 5, be productive, be as efficient as you can. But we know in recruitment, we can't work 9 to 5 because, we need to work, and engage with candidates when they're ready on their terms and all that kind of stuff. So, so I think we're starting to see that. And I was talking to someone outside of recruitment who's in legal, and the same problem really, but he was, in his he was at mid-20s and saying that I just don't want to work that way. I want to work in a more fluid way and work on my terms. I'm conscientious, I'm going to hit my objectives, but I've been told that I've got to work within these parameters. It just doesn't work.
The word guilt there is a really interesting word. And I think a lot of people in personal life, in the business, they don't understand how much guilt actually plays a part in the way they behave. It's very easy to feel guilty to go and take an hour out at 11 o'clock in the morning or 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and go to the gym or go to swim or run or go shopping because you're working 5 till 8 o'clock in the evenings. It's just an impractical way of living and it's not sustainable.
What, the doing the work or fitting it all in? Or
there's always something that's going to give, isn't it? And I think, and we see this with solo guys. Sometimes there's a time to stop. There's a time to go on holiday. There's a time to go spend some time with the children. And don't feel guilty about it. Feel the reward. You've earned it. You deserve it. It's
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So important. And I think that's the biggest challenge for entrepreneurial people who, see time as money and all of that. And, it's one thing as an entrepreneur getting comfortable with the fact that not only am I paying for the holiday, but I'm not earning money whilst I'm on holiday. And then, you fall into that trap of working, all that kind of stuff, which can be done, with boundaries and so on. But it's not just the guilt of how I feel guilty working and not being around the people I care about, but also just personally. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's look at the 4 keys then. Because I think some of these, and I think ultimately we're going to come back to mindset, because I think it's the overriding most critical part of the business journey. Yeah. And probably I'd be really interested to understand and whether it creates the best results or the biggest light bulb moments maybe for your what do you call them? People who come through your class, through your students, for example.
Yeah, students in the online program or one-to-one coaching clients. Yeah. So
we've got do you want to pick the order you would go through, because you obviously how to describe them best.
Yeah, well, I just go business, body, relationships, mindset. So that's kind of and business is obviously for us the way I look at it is, regardless of what's going on in life, we have to go out and hunt the buffalo. We have to go and win and feed ourselves and all that kind of stuff. And we want to be the best version of ourselves when we do that. We want a better way of describing it. Working an analogy, you've got to go about a run and sprint and be healthy and do all that.
The analogies with sport are huge, aren't they? They really are.
Absolutely. And so if we part that and then start thinking about body, relationships, and mindset. Body is about how do we want to feel. So it's not about getting a 6-pack and transforming our bodies. It's literally about how do we want to feel and feel strong, feel inflammation free. I talk about that a lot because I suffered a lot with inflammation through injuries and then realizing a lot of it was just about how I was fueling my body, with toxic and poisonous foods, and that was causing. And when you're working at pace and you're kind of grabbing stuff here and there and you're trying to fuel your body, all of a sudden it catches up with you. So the body's about how we fuel ourselves and how we stay strong. And then when we look at relationships, it's whether it's your inner circle of friends and just reconnecting with people, or just making sure that we're doing good acts of service for our families, and just being present outside of work. And then mindset is really about mental toughness. It's about resilience. It's about being focused on the job at hand, but also trying to find some peace in all of this as well.
Yeah.
So that relaxed state. So when we first started doing this work a couple of years ago, we were talking about things like meditation and mindfulness. I talk about box breathing and just engaging the parasympathetic response, and trying to bring some of the neuroscience into it as well, so that we kind of understand why would we sit there and take 10 deep breaths, after a tough or before a negotiation, or after we've eaten, or whatever it is. So I think, going back to your point, mindset is probably the foundation of all of this, and where the biggest changes take place. And if you take, there are kind of three key areas. You look at skills, of a recruiter, the knowledge that they need, either their market or just a recruitment process. All those skills will be wasted unless the mindset is right. So you could argue that 80% of what we do or 90% is mindset, and the rest skills and knowledge are kind of divided up.
I've got pretty much first-hand experience, I think, of that. And I feel like it's starting to happen again. I'll tell you why. So June last year, so I wonder your thoughts on this. So June last year, July-ish last year, mid-July, I kind of really hit a wall. I'd been work non-stop. So I was nowhere near as productive as I should be. Terrible. And as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, I don't see myself as an entrepreneur as such. I just know what I want to do, and I'm trying to make it happen. And I was really just going down lots of blind alleys, unproductive, not getting the results, not getting the outcomes. If my targets and my goals weren't set, they weren't aligned at all with what I was trying to achieve. But I've not had a break for a long time. And I sat with somebody, and they said, I advise you to have a holiday. And I recommend you have a holiday in August, and take August off.
Mm-hmm.
This is last year.
Yeah.
And I thought they were insane. My business is going to fall to pieces. How can I work? What about my clients? Because, this kind of thing. And I spoke to Fiona, and she said, I think they're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't quite take 4 weeks off, but I took most of August off.
Yeah.
It was just so alien to anything I thought was ever achievable. And I said, I just can't afford to. And they said, the magic words said, can you afford not to?
Right. Yeah.
And so I went, so I did. And actually, honestly, it was the best thing that happened to me. And now, as I've been working again solidly, I'm starting to feel I'm getting towards, I need to adjust what I'm doing again at the moment. Is that commonplace?
I think what you're describing is good practice. Absolutely. Now, some people, you're starting a business, then the chances are that of being able to take that time off might not be realistic, but there might be a way to combine the two. Like you said, you can go away and find somewhere with a bit of sunshine, and these things are important. Getting your vitamin D. You're not getting much of it in the UK at the moment. So, I think it is. I think it is important. One of the things we talk about a lot is slowing down to speed up. Just taking that time just to shut it down. You don't have to switch off entirely, but just to slow it down a bit. And one of the benefits of a 90-day game plan and have a 90-day reset is that you can have some aggressive action for 90 days. So you're operating in a stretch kind of mindset, if you like. You're pushing yourself to achieve goals that are a little bit scary, a little bit beyond what you think might be capable. But when we start breaking it down into winning daily, it's amazing what we can achieve over 90 days. And there's this kind of compound effect. So one of the things we talk about at the end of 90 days is actually going back to your comfort zone. So operating in stretch. When you go back to your comfort zone, you're just better. Perhaps your pipeline's stronger. You've learned more stuff about your sector. You're fitter. And actually, when you go back to your comfort zone, you can take your foot off the gas. But you can just ease up a little bit.
You've grown that much, haven't you, so to speak? Yeah,
you've grown, and you've got this compound effect. And one of the things we noticed off the back of when we first started doing it, it was back in January 2018 when we had a small mastermind working on 90-day game plans, is that we noticed it paid dividends beyond the 90 days. Because initially we were like, we're just going to run back-to-back 90-day game plans and it's going to be amazing. But that's where the burnout comes.
Yeah.
So you can stretch yourself, push yourself for a period of time, go back to your comfort zone, and still benefit from that aggressive focus. And then do it again, do an H1, do an H2 type.
Yeah, I was just going to say that then. So I'm really interested in this 90-day game plan mentality, I suppose. I always remember Churchill said he used to work to 100 days, didn't he? So when he was in the war, etc., he used to work to 100 days. And I know
100-day projects, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously in the recruitment, they kind of work to quarters, so it always kind of just drops down into that 90-day kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you talk about you put yourself hard, you stretch yourself. Before we talk about that, how soon after the 90 days do you do another one? Do you wait 90 days and then do, so you do 2 a year, or how?
Well, that's what I do personally. So I do a January and a June.
Right.
That's where I go. But we call it a 90-day reset because naturally we fall off the wagon. You know, something might happen, or, you know, something out of our control happens. And then the temptation is just go, well, throw it all out and that's it. You know, it's failed, you know, yeah. Whereas if we call it a reset, to go, actually, we'll just reset. Let's just start again.
Yeah.
And then they can run. They don't have to run to quarters, because typically, you know, we've got a quarter. We either start slow and then we are catching up at the end, or sort of, you know, feeling a bit stressed. But if we just kind of just work them through the year, at a time when works for you, because the whole purpose of a 90-day game plan reset is aggressive action.
Right.
And the timing is important. So if I speak to someone, they say, well, I want to do my 90-day game plan, but my wife's having a baby, we're going on holiday for 3 weeks here, we're getting married at the, you know.
Yeah, it's unrealistic.
It's probably not going to work. Why don't we just be focused, do the work, do what you can, maybe do a 30-day focus, see what you can achieve in 30 days. But one of the other things with a 90-day game plan is it's got to be aligned to a bigger purpose. So instead of why. So we always talk about the vision first. What do you want to achieve in 3 years, 5 years? It's more visual, a bit more blue sky, a bit more deluded, sort of thinking, you know, a bit, you know, dream a bit, right? And then start thinking about what can I achieve in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It's going to bring that vision closer, faster. What can I, you know, then it gets real.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I think back to my 90-day game plan back in January 2018, it was crazy. I didn't know how to create an online program. I didn't know what platforms, where to do it, video. I didn't want to. Every time I looked at a camera, I'd just turn it off because I was too embarrassed. And then, you know, I said I'd write a book about it. I would create a mastermind. I'd do all these things. I never.
First 90-day one.
Yeah, and then by the end of the year, I published a book and I'd had an online program, and also, so I kind of proved it to myself. And I'm not lazy, but it also takes me a bit of time to.
It takes that discipline as well.
Get that into action, and also having a support group. You know, when you put this stuff out and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do in 90 days. You know, you've got a peer group who are watching you. You know, so I'll post my you're accountable. Yeah, which I think is always a benefit of any type of network. Yeah. And I know some really good networks within recruitment, and I think that's probably, when you speak to people, that's probably one of the biggest benefits. Sharing best practice. And,
we do that because that's seriously connected. You know, we made up a solo recruiters here, and the key thing is everybody's different. Some love the marketing, some love the system, some like hiding behind. You know, not everybody's the same, but the commonality and everybody's supporting each other to try and get there. I think that's really undervalued. And if I would want to recommend to any recruiter out there, if you're a solo recruiter, is get a group, a support network. You can't do it on their own. And I do, my favorite phrase around that is to go fast, go alone, to go far, go together. And I think that's real benefit in terms of that sort of mentality. Yeah. So what kind of things? So I'm still in this 90-day plan actually, because I really do. What kind of things would people put in place? And the reason why I ask is the solo recruiters, if you're going to say solo and you're not going to employ staff, and you're not going to go and you're going to be more of a freelancer type recruiter, as it were. They're much different goals in terms of, I'm going to have an office 3 staff, I'm going to go in this industry, I'm going to do an RPO, I'm going to go, you know, the various different things. Yeah. How I would see them as being, right, okay, I need to hit this target for revenue. I need to hit, you know, X amount of, get my data compliant and all clean or whatever. But in those holidays, I'll spend those time with children or upskill on some marketing or some video or learning. How do they break that down? What steps can they put into place to create a game plan?
Yeah. So the obvious ones are going to be performance objectives. We're talking about business. So one thing we look at is, you know, first of all, the vision across the 4 keys. What do I want in my business, my body, my relationships, my mindset? That's the vision. And then we start saying, what can we achieve in 90 days across the 4 keys? So what am I achieving in my business? What am I achieving in my body, my relationships, mindset? And then once they compartmentalize that, they realize how all four are synced. They're linked. Like if one drops off, the other one drops off, and they all link in that way. So it's important to look at it holistically in that way. So, but from a business perspective, one of the things we look at are less obvious objectives. So obvious ones would be some of the kind of things that are, like financial objectives and stuff like that. And they're important. You've got to have those. You say, how many deals I want to achieve in the next 90 days? And also they probably start thinking about how many clients I want to win and all that kind of stuff. And we do the standard stuff where you break that down and start saying, what does that look like in the way of activity?
Yeah.
But the most important thing is it goes back to mindset, which is always, one of the things we talk about is so what do I need to achieve between 8 and 10 or 8 and 12 on a Monday morning?
Right.
That is, and then what you choose to do over the weekend is going to prepare you for what you can do between 8 and 12 on a Monday morning.
Oh, that's really interesting, that.
Yeah. So that starts to change the mindset of habits. And also just, am I going to be as effective between 8 and 12 on a Monday morning if I go out and party on the weekend? Am I going to achieve that vision?
And then does that that kind of sets the tone for the week almost as well, doesn't it?
Well, I think the way I look at it, regardless of what business you're in, that's where you make your money, right? So, that and I look at it like sports. The more aggressive you are in the opponent's end, the more you are on the offense, the more you start fast, the more likely you are to create some space for yourself. And as long as you've got that clarity and you know what you're doing, and all of a sudden then you look at it's Friday afternoon, you go, I think I've pretty much done everything I need to, rather than thinking I still got to chase. I'm still chasing stuff here. And
that, isn't it? It's like you say, chasing. So so that takes us on to something that I don't think happens enough, and I mean this in a non-financial way. It's the reward. Okay, at the end of that week, it's very easy because business never ends. There's always tomorrow. There's always another deal. There's always another candidate. There's always another client. There's always another thing you can be doing.
Yeah.
But it's if you set those objectives for the week and you set your tone, like you say, 8 till 12 on a Monday, you get to Friday at 3:00, you've earned the right to maybe potentially fit. People don't reward themselves, neither, do they?
No, and often, what am I rewarding myself for? So what are the 2 to 3 things that I need to achieve today that says I'm winning? Go back to the point earlier, it's easy in sports, right? Because you go into the game and you hopefully you have a good game and you win the game, and then you can celebrate that win. If you lose the game, then you kind of go, well, we lost, but we showed some good signs of improvement. We implemented the tactics. We're doing some things that show that we're in moving in the right direction, or we just didn't turn up, and we didn't turn up, and therefore we need to. That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But it's once or twice a week. For the solo recruiter who is in the game every day, they need to know: am I showing up? So am I, bringing my A game? Did I win today? So what are the 3 things I needed to achieve today to show that I won? So having that very clearly mapped out that these are the 3 objectives to say today was a successful day. And then you can look and go, well, I only hit 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3, but I'm moving, I'm progressing. I've learned something. I've learned something new in my sector. I've started writing some copy for my website. And that's what I meant by non-obvious things, the things that move our business on, particularly for a solo recruiter, I think is focused on those non-urgent tasks, the things you lay at night thinking, probably should do that, probably should set up some, sales funnels or do, look at outbound strategy and all these things. But then you get back into it, it's just straight on the phone again, and we're doing what we need to do. And it's starting to, I still love the Stephen Covey non-urgent, important, non-urgent, etc. And it's looking at things that, so for example, whenever we do a 90-day reset, we look at all the key objectives that are on that 90-day reset. They're all non-urgent. They don't have to do them.
Do you know the things that keep me awake are housekeeping? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And what I mean is all the commercial stuff. I don't have any issues with that. Any of them are. It's the bits. And I know. I heard your interview not long ago. I can't remember who it was by. Forgive me. And we were talking about self-awareness. Okay. Now, one of my things, I know I need things tidy. Okay. I need my data clean. I know everything's, and that allows me to have that clear desk to go forward with the urgent tasks. So I need to build into my week a day, whether Romley's or Nikki's involved, whoever's doing it with my team. But for me to move forward, those resets, right? Have we got those? it's the small things, but actually those kind of things weigh heavy on me, which is kind of doesn't always seem to make sense.
Absolutely. But it's not urgent. You could bump it to the next day,
But they sit and they get heavier, don't they?
They do. Well, it's what I always say. You know, look at all the things that you've come up with, and they'll all be non-urgent, but they're non-urgent until they're urgent. So, and that's across the 4 keys. So it's the business. I haven't updated my website. I haven't built up my pipeline because I'm filling jobs over here, and I've got this nice client, and they're giving me lots of jobs, and so I don't have to worry about that for now until I have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And then I'm playing catch up. The relationship is non-urgent. You know, date nights are non-urgent until they're urgent. Yeah. You know, the body, the health. You know, I can just keep going and pushing, and then all of a sudden something else becomes. So it's just daily thinking about what I can do. You know, and people come to me and they say, "Oh, I haven't got time for." You know, by the time I drive to the gym, and I've got an hour in the gym, and I drive back, and I have to have a PT to hold me accountable, and I'm saying, look, you can stay fit and healthy following a reasonably healthy lifestyle and do 3. I mean, my workout is, I'm doing this at the moment where I do a 3-minute workout, which is
every day or
every day. Yeah.
Not different times throughout the day. You do one
just one in the morning.
Right.
Yeah. So, and the way it works is I put the kettle on whilst it's boiling. I warm up.
I like it, right?
And then I put the tea bag in the mug and I brew my tea for 3 minutes.
Right.
And I work out. And at the end of my workout, I have a cup of tea. Now you tell me not everybody makes a cup of tea in the morning. If you haven't got time to work out, I'm just not hearing it. So now, if you want to be on the stage and you want to be posing or you want to be a bodybuilder, and you're probably not, but if you want to just stay strong, healthy, get your heart rate up, follow some decent principles when it comes to eating healthy, then there's no excuse.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm a big fan. I mean, I heard as well you don't eat bread. I'm allergic to milk and some dairy stuff. So I've had to kind of build it. Yeah, I saw you earlier eating some dark chocolate. That's kind of like torture for me.
Right. Okay.
This is my favorite as well. But I think I needed to stop drinking milk. Okay. Right. So I had to build that into my day. It's a non-negotiable. I have to do that. And I think that we're talking 3 minutes. Okay. Everyone can walk around the block. Everyone can do 5. I don't know. Even to the point of, it's funny. Even though when the kettle's on and just do one of those stand-up incline press ups while you work. You know.
Just, I mean, you said 3 minutes not enough. But you say just train subtly for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Just do something for 3 minutes. And you're fine. And I've got a kettlebell here that we just pick it up and just do so, just to try and keep us moving throughout the day. Sat in a chair. I mean, for the most part, I'm quite lucky because my work, I'm standing up and I'm facilitating and coaching and so on. But Mondays,
those incremental, marginal gains that you get, and because all right, maybe you're not going to run a marathon after doing jogging on the spot while the kettle's boiling. Right?
Yeah.
But up here, that's a tick in the box of at least one part of my daily move, my daily action, my daily energy exercise. Yeah. And that consistent habit sort of definitely help, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. So when someone says to me, I'm struggling with work-life balance, I really want to be healthy, I want to start looking after myself, and they go away and they have a think about our conversation, they come back and they say, oh, good news, I've signed up for the London Marathon. I'm like,
oh. We signed up for Tough Mudder. Right?
You don't have any time anyway, so now you're going to be running X amount of miles a week, and and then the argument is, but I can eat what I like now.
I signed up. My brother was 40 in April, and for I think it was a gift. Now it's starting to become torture. We signed up for Tough Mudder. I signed him up for Tough Mudder. I thought we'd do something together, a bit of fun in September this year, and I'm absolutely dreading it because all of a sudden this has gone from I mean, I'm pretty fit and active, but doing it. Big old Tough Mudder is a whole different game, but that's my stretch target. Okay,
yeah, perfect.
That's my stretch target. Okay, and I like the analogy. I saw something that where you have the elastic band, you pull the elastic band, you stretch it, and it'll never go back to the size. And that's what I feel about growth. And that's what I feel the mindset, the 4 keys, all these kind of things, all link very nicely. And I think it's very obvious that you're driving people into let's get the mind straight, let's work on some realistic goals, let's be accountable. Yeah. Let's be accountable, let's deliver, and let's actually work to something, reward ourselves, and hopefully you're going to grow your business and develop where you are.
Yeah, you will. And as I've said, before, if you absolutely focus on your health and the body, the relationships, particularly if you've got personal relationships, close relationships, and the mindset, the work literally will take care of itself.
Yeah, and
you could just go and be in the best version of yourself.
And I think we could all do that a little bit more every day as well. I mean, we could all drink more hot water. We could all do a little bit of exercise. We could always work more. We could always sleep more. But it's about the right things at the right times. My dad used to always say to me, a little bit often. So do everything almost within reason, but do it all, often. So I'm kind of like raring to go and get my pad on the wall and talk about my business goals and mindset and all that ready. Anything we've missed, anything you think that we've just got to tell recruiters out there, anybody listening, how you can be more effective, or we kind of covered it, or you think there's
there's a couple of things going through my mind, having worked with a lot of solopreneurs, and is really, when it comes to mindset, is taking responsibility for what's within our control and letting go of things that aren't. And often I'm, so I would always, as a coach, you're always coaching the person that's in front of you. So if someone comes into a session with me and they say, let's say for argument's sake, I thought I was going to close a deal, but the candidate started acting out and started being like this, and it's been a real challenging person to deal with, or the client's acting up. The question I'm always going to ask is, what is it you're doing or not doing that's causing the candidate to act that way? And I think for someone that's a solo recruiter, that's the question we always need to be asking ourselves, is what is it I'm doing or not doing that's causing this stuff around me to happen, so that we can bring it into our control. Because if we keep, that's for me the difference between successful business owner, consultant versus ones that aren't, is that they're looking to blame something. Versus what can I change? What can I change in myself? Hold the mirror up and say, what is it I need to change? So whether you're a consultant, an athlete, they're the best ones are constantly doing that, saying what can I change? And I think from a mindset perspective, that's key.
Absolutely, I could agree. I think usually as well, you normally know yourself what that thing is. You do, and sometimes you prefer not to know. So you look for an opportunity to kind of blame something else, and but I think for the most part we all know. I think as well. I think I believe process equals profit. So I think if you're in that, if you followed the correct process and you know that you've delivered and you know you've covered every angle or all stages of your process, and you can do nothing about that. Recruitment, we can't do anything about the outcome. We can only influence so far. But if you've got that clean and move on to the next one, because you can't do any more.
No, just keep ticking those things off, and the process starts from the moment you wake up. A good routine, good process, developing those habits. And trying to win more often than we don't, and just edging it each day.
You said they were two. Was there? I think you said there were two.
Oh, that was just what was going through my mind earlier when you were talking about mindset. It's just that taking ownership and embracing failure. That we're in this every day. You're not going to win the game every day, and just really just going all in. And if you find yourself procrastinating, particularly as an entrepreneur, or being risk averse, then there's going to be a challenge in growing the business. You're going to, playing as we adopted it with Team GB. It was a big thing in our locker room, which I completely stole from Seth Godin, which was playing safe is risky. We've got to be the offense. We've got to, try things out, test it, review it. Maybe making sure that we know, when to pivot, as they say, or when to double down, and knowing, having that time to reflect is key, and that comes from slowing down, breathing, all of that good stuff.
I think life is short as well. I think that there are too many people think about it. They sit in the status quo. They don't change. They're frightened of breaking out of the mold. And I do think that everybody has an opportunity to go and try and push yourself. That and a lot of people sit in that safe zone. So if you risk nothing, you risk everything almost. And I agree with you. Seth Godin is a super interesting guy, but like you said, you've got to risk. You've got to. Everything is on the other side. And I'm not saying you go crazy and gamble it all on black, for example, but it's going to be a calculated risk, and you've got to. We're only here massively. We're only here once, and sometimes the risks aren't as big as you think they are. No,
absolutely, and it could be as simple as, I'm kind of making some money in this sector over here, but people keep asking me to fill jobs over here, and I feel a bit torn, so I better put on my website that I do this and that and that, and then choose one. Just see what happens. People will be surprised.
Oh, I love it. Andrew, I could honestly sit and talk about this all day, and it's something that everybody can adopt into the personal life, the business life, every way.
Yeah.
Where can we find you? I know you've got quite a good Facebook group, and I know you count heavily on LinkedIn. Tell me everywhere we can find you, so that everybody, you need to listen, write it down where you can follow you now.
Well, LinkedIn is often an obvious one, so happy. Would be great to connect with you guys on that. We have got a Facebook group.